Hi, we're back, and I want to talk a little bit now about thesis statements. You'll forgive me if I'm a little distracted. My cat is actually sitting here on my desk right now, full disclosure. So in terms of thesis statements, generally, I think most students are familiar with the concept of a thesis statement. A thesis is something that provides the reader with a succinct presentation of a writer's point of view on a given topic. However, there's definitely a structure for thesis statements and certainly a structure and guidelines when it comes to writing an effective thesis statement. And along with that, there's kind of some pitfalls that students tend to fall into with thesis statements. And with the thesis, it really provides not just the reader, but the writer with a strong starting point. So if you take a look at the statement below, all college students should be required to take 10 writing courses. Obviously, if you take a minute and think about this statement as a student, especially a student who's on the cusp of graduating, you're probably have a few ideas running through your mind right now about why I would say such a thing to you. But it's important to think about what kind of statement have I expressed. If you said an opinion or a point of view, you're correct. You're probably thinking, why would you say that? That's just your opinion as a teacher. But if I change that statement just a little bit, so I have all college students should be required to take 10 writing courses. So that's the original statement. Now I've added some information because in these courses, students learn to think critically and effectively express their ideas. Think for a minute then. What does the new information do? Hold on one sec, stop that. What does the new information do, and how does it change the statement? I added a because, and this because establishes the reasoning. It helps explain why I believe my point of view. Even though writing is a solitary activity, it can be considered a dialogue with an imaginary reader, and it helps to imagine a reader asking you questions. So I have an opinion, and we all start in writing from our opinions. I believe all college students should be required to take 10 writing courses. Okay, that's my opinion. But I have to think about how that opinion lands on the reader. What else does the reader need to know? And very often, readers need to know why we believe something. That's the because, it's the reasoning. Now here's that same statement again. All college students should be required to take 10 writing courses, point of view, that's my opinion. Because, that's the reasoning. In these courses, students learn to think critically and effectively express their ideas. What questions now do you still have about this statement? Does the statement seem any more reasonable to you? Are you going, great, I'm on board? If not, as a reader, you may want more information. All college students should be required to take 10 writing courses, point of view. Because, reasoning. In these courses, students learn to think critically and effectively express their ideas, which are among the top skills identified by CEOs of Fortune 500 companies as desirable for management trainees. I have added new information. What does this information give the reader? This information establishes the importance of the idea for the reader. It gives the reader what I like to call the so what of an argument. Every argument, and really every time we're writing something, whether we're writing to inform or explain the reader about something, we're really in writing supporting and explaining our ideas. So on a very basic level, we're always writing an argument as we support and explain our ideas. And every argument needs a so what to help connect to the reader. It lets the reader know why they should care or be interested. In an argument, it helps to convince or persuade the reader's thinking. So I have added that information. My so what is not just to think critically and effectively express their ideas. That may be what's important for me as a writing teacher. But I have to think about in writing what's important for my reader. Why would a reader care? And my readers right now are you, my students. So my students might be interested in getting a job and might be interested in the skills that Fortune 500 companies find desirable. So then I connect my point of view, the ideas that I'm trying to support and explain, with something that might be relevant to the reader. And again, we call this the so what. So in summary, a thesis is the organizing statement in writing, which establishes a connection with the reader and helps explain what the writer believes, the point of view, why the writer believes this, the reasoning, and why the reader should care, what's important about these ideas, the so what. So every thesis statement in its structure has a point of view, a reason, and a so what. It has 3 key elements. But as I said earlier, there are a few pitfalls to look out for in developing a thesis. So what happens if I say this? All college students take writing courses. It's the same topic, but I've worded it differently. Does it work as an argument? Why or why not? It's no longer an argument, but a simple statement of fact. All college students take writing courses. We know they do, but so what about that? What happens if I write it this way? College students should write more. Again, same topic, but I've changed the wording. College students should write more. That statement is too broad. There's no context. It leaves too many questions open for the reader to ask, and I may not be able to write a focused argument for a very broad thesis. There's too much ground to cover. What about this next version? College students need to practice thesis statements. That's a little bit more specific, but it's almost too narrow. I may not have enough to write about just saying you need to practice thesis statements. It seems self-evident, but really, how do I develop an argument about that? What about this next version? And this is a structure in thesis statements that I see frequently in student writing. In this paper, I will explain why students need to take more writing courses. This thesis does what we call announcing. An effective thesis doesn't announce the writer's intention or ideas. It presents and organizes them into a succinct statement for the reader. I like to call it like that old Nike campaign. It's the just do it. So you don't want to announce. You don't want to say, in this paper, I will. In this essay, I will. In the following paragraphs, I will. You don't want to announce that you're going to do something. You just want to do it. So in summary, there are a few pitfalls to look out for in developing a thesis. It can be too broad, too specific. It can be a simple statement of fact, or it can announce, or it might lack one of the key elements, the point of view, the reasoning, and the so what. This completes my lecture on thesis statements. Now your partnered worksheet will have you practicing and thinking about these ideas further. And again, please feel free to contact me if you ever have any questions on the material.